Good morning and welcome to Equity Story Trade Watch, 11th of May, Thursday. Couple of days to go. Not a bad start today on the back of last night's performance on the NASDAQ. Before I talk about the NASDAQ, talk about the CPI and look at some numbers today and look at some investments. Let's look at the Equity Story disclaimer in front of you, which of course means that it's all general advice. Everything we speak about is based on the technicals and fundamentals of each individual story. Okay, so let's go to see what actually happened last night, and I'll flick through. You'll see the actual numbers from last night. So let's go straight to market index, which will give you the NASDAQ 1.1% up. You've got the S&P up 0.45, Dow Jones at I think pretty steady. So nothing really happened. Of course, importantly for us, golds, everyone was scared last night. What's going to happen? Is gold going to go up? Is it going to go down on these CPI numbers? But it's pretty steady, really. Nothing's really happened to gold. I think slightly down this morning. Again, it's not too bad. So everything you're probably trading still in the gold space, status quo. Nothing's changing. Still holding on some of these stories. We'll have a look at a few anyway. Other than that, really, it should be a fairly benign day today, really, at the end of it all. Just having a look through what else obviously is making the sesh. And I just wanted to quickly show you uranium and I think lithium was the one that's interesting. So I'm going to flick through now to commodities or trading economics to show you the actual lithium, which has a bit of a bounce, and it leads on to some of the announcements from yesterday. So you can see there's a little bounce right there, and I'll make it a bit bigger so you can see it. Bounced right there, and I'll put it actually on weekly so you can see it a bit better. So that's good, but at the end of the day, is this sustainable? Is this just a dead cat bounce? We're about to find out, I suppose. I think it's still probably, it could have legs to get back to 250,000 before it maybe comes back again to that 200, 150. I think it should probably stay around there somewhere, just on, some more positive talk from the big fundies out there, the big brokers out there. They're talking it up again. Maybe just on the back of that, the actual demand is obviously strong, but the supply is not ramping up as quickly as possible. But, this could change over the next 12 months. So I'm still fairly glass half empty on the price, but, it's still elevated. Remember, it was in November 2021 or around about that time at 50,000, right? So it's still like 4 times as high as it was previously. So I think it's reasonable to say that this is okay. This is not too bad. Saying that the prices of some of these commodities, of some of these stocks in lithium space has actually rebounded. And last night, and I'll now go back and I'll show you, is actually starting to look pretty good because we've had a merger from Allkem and Livent, how do you call it? It's actually a very, very good merger, I have to say. I mean, this makes complete sense to me because, first of all, Allkem is in Argentina, so is Livent. They're about 200 kilometers apart. They've got other projects in there as well, so they can obviously form and cut costs for sure. Then I also have got properties in Canada as well, both of them. So that makes sense. So the merger actually makes a lot of sense from that. And you can see the market really cheering it today. It's up 14%. And I'm pretty sure it's going to set fire again underneath the lithium space. So, I mean, if obviously you haven't seen, this is a pretty good chart for sure. But I'd say things like PLS, that's going to probably look very, very good today. Generally thinking, you're thinking to yourself, okay, there's probably going to be more mergers. I'd say these things need to get better. And this is going to create a 10 billion or 15 billion Australian dollar player in the lithium space, which is quite sizable. So I think bulking up makes sense, right? There's going to be a rationalization of the industry. You're going to see mergers, probably less acquisitions, more probably mergers between the medium sized players to make themselves bigger, to sort of spur up to those SQMs of the world, Albemarle's of the world, right? And I know that at the moment we've got a takeover in Australia of what was it, the one in the Western Australia, Liontown, right? So that's what's happening at the moment. But there's pretty hot space still. M&A activities happening, so you can see the FOMO's coming back into this space. So all down to you. So what else can we look? So AK is obviously pretty good. What other stories you'd be looking in this space? And of course, the really good explorers like PTM is definitely one to look at. And like I said, a little bit earlier, maybe the last few months I've been talking about, if you're going to be looking at this space, look at the really top performers. And what I mean by that, sorry, it's actually PMT, not PTM. I'm looking at the big players. First of all, the actual producers, and second of all, the ones that've got probably 100 million tons of lithium. Because the smaller players, they're just going to fall by the wayside. They're probably not going to quite be in the top rung of what it makes you attractive to be merged or together with someone. So if you're going to be playing that space, play the top boys. So as you can see, these guys are looking pretty good. They're actually looking very, very good on the chart. So maybe that's something to have a look at. So you've got AKEs, PLS, IGO, possibly maybe more mergers with them. Lion, obviously take over. I'm just trying to think what else that might be. Maybe PLL in America, something like that could do okay. Let's have a look at that chart as well. So there's a few, I suppose players if you're going to be looking at it space, and you can see that's not too bad either. So yeah, by all means, I've got no problems with you trading this stuff. All right, so what else actually reported? So this morning, NXT came out and said we're going to capital raise at I think $10.47, I think. So it's $10.74. I apologize, which is about 7%, I think, from the last time they said that they had the price, which is not too bad. And you know what? I suppose it's a good capital raising because they want to build more infrastructure, more data centers, because there's obviously demand for this. So one is going to be in Malaysia, one is going to be in New Zealand, and they reported well today. They've updated today also. So they've narrowed the actual guidance they gave previously, which doesn't look too bad. It's looking like it's fairly positive without being outrageously great or really terrible. So it's something in the middle, slightly above middle. So I'm happy with that. We saw it, the last jump we had here on an update that they've had was pretty positive as well. So all in all, I think there's definitely a lot of demand for NXT's data centers. And there's a lot of growth, and there's probably going to be growth for the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years, to be honest, because data at the moment is just growing exponentially, right? You got to store it, you got to use it. It's just continuous and continuous. So if they play their cards right, this is going to be quite good. All we don't want to see is just continuous coming back to you guys and trying to capital raise, because that could get into that habit of, yeah, we need more because we need to build another data center somewhere, and it's just going to keep going the same way without too much share price rise. So I want to see them obviously become profitable and start using some of those cash flows to fund their own growth, right? That will come, I'm pretty sure, but it's just got to be patient as an investor. I'm still liking overall. Fund is in it. I'm going to hold and possibly get some on this capital raise as well. All right, what's the next one? So let's look at Orica, who came out with an update themselves. So let's have a look what they are doing on the chart. Are they trending? It's actually not too bad, the chart. Today, I think it was a positive response, I believe. Yep, so up 1%. The update, I'm not a huge fan of Orica, to be honest, but it's not a bad story. It's a big story. So top 200 stock, not probably one that we normally will be investing into, because you can see really 2-3 year period, it has done absolutely nothing. So for me, better stories in a big space. Moving on to the next one. And this is one of our favorites, and it's looking pretty good. And that's GMG. Another upgrade. This is going to our upgrades portfolio, I suppose, or the watch list that we're looking at. So very happy with it. It's over 20 bucks. It's going from what, 13.5, I think they said. There was a previous upgrade that I had in February to 15%, so another 1.5% on top of that. Typical from GMG. So every year they come up with with pretty much the news that that this is what they've got, but then they come up with a update saying, okay, we're going to give 11% growth. Then they come up with another upgrade 4 months later saying, okay, we're going to have 13%, and then they come up at the end of the 15%. So this is like a cycle for them, right? Which for me is good. I'm happy with that, because as an investor, I want to see them, pretty much under promise and over deliver, which they do, even though it's nothing again spectacular. It's just incremental type stuff. but it's still very good as an investor to see the management can deliver on news and actually over deliver as well. So 15% growth overall. Very happy that, especially when you look at this space, right? You look at this REIT space and you think to yourself, it might struggle in a rising interest environment. It might struggle in costs going up, of course, because of interest rates going up, inflationary pressures as well. But you know what? You look at the actual update today, they're looking very, very good. 99% occupancy. There's definitely a lot. They're playing the cards absolutely perfectly. So the management has to be giving a lot of kudos. And you know what? I think it's going to be still probably ongoing. It doesn't matter how bad the market's going to get. This is going to be a one to probably keep. And I know the last maybe, let's see, 1.5 years, it's just been sort of languishing a little bit behind. It's what it is that's happening. It's nothing wrong with the company because it's growing nicely every year in the double digits. The fact is, it's just been expensive. So it's just taking that 1.5 years, maybe 2 years to revert to a lower PE ratio. So that's what it's doing. It's just being re-rated. They don't, the market before the pandemic used to trade on pretty high multiples. Now it's coming back to some sort of normality. So for me, it's coming to the value stage where you want to be investing and holding this for the long term. So for me, I like this story. I'm holding it. No problems there. If you bought it on that maybe last week on that lovely green candle, it's a hold. I think maybe we can get this $21 out of this over the next couple of 3-4 weeks, right? So as a trade, it's still on. Nothing wrong with that. Upgrade, looking pretty positive. Overall, you cannot fault it really at the end of the day. All right, couple of more. GNC, let's have a look at GNC. And they come up with an upgrade. So let's have a look what they do. And look at that. It's sort of was languishing below the trend, but it's bounced back nicely. It still hasn't done enough for a trade. So we'll just be watching it. It's been volatile because of the wheat prices. Are the wheat prices going to get affected by the Russia war with Ukraine? It's hard to say. Sometimes it looks like it will. Sometimes it doesn't look like it will. But the price of wheat itself, if you look at the trade economics numbers, it's come down, right? So hence it's come down from there. It's come down right down to $6.70 or so, $6.80 something, now to $7.50 on that upgrade today. So overall, today's upgrade looks pretty good. So even lower in price environment, I think the market was too negative on it. And now it's just sort of reverting back to what it should be probably trading. So I'd say it's going to be trading around that between $7 and $8 for the time being. Not for me a story, but it could be tradable, but we're just going to need wait till tomorrow. Maybe if it pushes a little bit higher, maybe to $8, maybe there's a trade there to $8.50 or something like that. All right, last one, I just want to quickly mention AV1 going to trading hold. Like I said, on the quarterly, they're going to have to capital raise. Here we are, they're capital raising. So we'll see what their numbers are like, how much they're raising and what price. But it's just unfortunately this vicious circle with small companies who got negative cash flows and they need to grow and they need to spend money to grow, right? So unfortunately, a bit of pain to come. But what it just means there's more dilution, and it doesn't matter how careful you are not to raise too much. By playing, trying to get limp along to get to that spot where you're actually going to start being cash flow neutral. But before that gets, it could be another 12 months. There could be another capital raising or two in there. So it is a difficult thing for them to obviously manage. And yeah, it looks like it's not going to probably get back over those trend lines anytime soon. So no trading there, unfortunately. So we just got to wait. Still like the story. It's just what it is right now. All right, let's quickly look at, is there anything else happening on the market this morning? So I'm going to go through the actual watch list of mine. So let's see what's actually going on there. So Duratec is bouncing again. Let's have a look at the chart right there. So that's a nice bounce, right? It looked like it's going to might probably come back to the 80 cents, but that's bouncing this week nicely. Meta Group, wow, that's a nice bounce. Again, that looked like it's maybe going to come back. 507, that's possibly going to be a all-time high. Finished by the end of the week. What else? So we had just going down some of the stories that we like, of course. PWH still under $10. So then we've got the GMG, which is okay. IPD, another one we follow. So that's looking okay. Let's have a look at that. That's still going okay. From there, Hello World is starting to climb back to that $3 again. Just normal action here. It's bouncing up to 280, and I think it's might see that $3 again soon. Of course, our favorites, TLX at the moment. Every time we think, oh, it needs to come back, needs to have a breather, it's just hitting all-time highs. So it's now 11.05. Let's see how it finishes. Really like the story. I think it's pretty good. What else? We've got car sales. Let's see what they're doing at the 23.16. Yeah, that's come back. It's hopefully will bounce and trying to retest at 24 again. Really good story there. Let me see what else. Lindsay, really surprisingly very strong, I have to say, because I thought this one is a good candidate to have a little bit of a pullback to that $1.20, maybe even slightly even lower. But again, look at that. It's bounced off nicely. So if you're holding on of these stocks, there's no reason for them to sell right now. The chart looks actually very, very good on all four of them, right? So we looked at, let me see, Supply Network, another one we like. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, that's holding on there. That's not too bad. Macquarie, let's have a look at that on that upgrade recently. Just below trend, but you know what? It's a long-term hold, and when you look at it monthly, that's still really, really, very good. So no problem there. AUB, let's have a look at that one. What's going on here? So overall, it's not bad at all. I'll put it back onto the weekly. So a lot of our stocks are doing quite well. Let's look at a couple of actually gold stories because we talked about gold. So let's just go back to the charting again and see where they're at before I finish off. Let's see if this is still worth holding on with the gold stories. So we go there and we'll quickly change that. And let's look at EVN to start off with. So like I said, I mean, 2030, that's still doing, look at that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I know we had, there was a big danger that might come back to that 350, 357, somewhere there, but it's not happening at the moment. So maybe it could hold on to that 380, maybe. Let's look at NST. What's happening there? Yeah, that's still holding on quite okay. CMM, let's have a look at that one. Okay, so that one's pulled back. That one looks actually quite good last week. It just hasn't gone on with it. It's come back to the trend line. This is your last on the defense. If it breaks that, you're out. Let's have a look at another one. So we're going to have a look at maybe AGG as well. AX. Just to see what they're doing. Yeah, look at that. Most of them are holding on quite well. So there's really nothing to worry about in the gold stocks. The only one maybe CMM. If it drops below that trend line, whoops, you might have a think about it of getting out. Well, you should really, because if you're following the CTM, you should be having a strategy of below trend lines, you're out. What else? I think that's pretty much it for today. So I'll leave you guys with that. Have a good day. Really, trade carefully. I think that the crux of the story right now is we've just gone over that hump of CPI in America. It looks like the markets reacted okay-ish, which is good. So for me, I'm holding some of the stocks that, I'm not taking any more profits. I'm just going to hold on to what I've got. Just obviously looking at gold stories, that's probably more my focus is whether I should be taking profits, where I should be topping up maybe. So I'm watching that gold price pretty closely and wanting to see what happens tonight and on Friday, so that I can make a decision for next week to see. But good news, not much happening on the market, which is actually quite good. I don't want to see it drop too far, and for the moment it looks okay. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Cheers.